one really important thing, and sometimes this is maybe harder with kids, but we want people to think that church can actually be enjoyed. Like you can come to church and have a good time. I know maybe you have church history in the past. You're like, I didn't enjoy it. I went, but I didn't enjoy it. We believe that church should be a fun place to be enjoyed, and that you can enjoy the people that you're around in your community and specifically in your faith community. We want people to know that it is true. The church can be enjoyed. Beliefs matter. We want people to understand that beliefs matter. Well, why? They dictate our behavior, right? So beliefs matter. And what you believe today, and again, and maybe throughout the years, it's changed and it's morphed, and you're discovering things. That's awesome. But what we believe matters. God has an ideal. That when we look into the Bible, we mentioned earlier, it's true that God actually has an ideal for us, an ideal life to live. That He gives us a standard and an ideal, and that you can discover that and you can follow after Jesus in that ideal that God sets forward. Again, these are truths that we want people to understand as we get our church going in downtown. And we want people to understand that God is good. In a world full of hurt and pain, this one's sometimes tough, right? Sometimes it's tough to believe that this is true, that God is good. We want people to know they can know Him and that He is a good God. But just because something is true doesn't mean someone will hold on to it, right? Like even if there may be people here today that like you believe these things are true, but you're not sure if you really hold on to it. It's no surprise when you look at some statistics. The Barna Group has been compiling over years, and they kind of have this definition, this post-Christian. They have these 16 characteristics, and they put these surveys out. They see where people are. In 2013, America was about 37% considered themselves post-Christian, which means I used to, I don't anymore. I believed, I don't really anymore. I used to go to church. I used to have a faith community. I used to maybe follow this faith. I don't anymore. It's about 37%. 2 years later, it was up 7%, which was the largest increase in that small time span to 44%. Even more so in Las Vegas in 2013. Las Vegas was not even in the top 15 cities that were considered post-Christian. 2 years later, they were number 8. So our city specifically is at 59-60% considering themselves post-Christian, meaning I used to, I don't anymore. The largest growing religiously affiliated group is actually the nuns. Not N-U-N-S, like there's this rise in Catholic nuns, but N-O-N-E-S, meaning I don't have anything I follow when it comes to religion or belief system or a church or a faith. So again, just because something is true doesn't mean people will hold on to it. And sometimes in an effort to embrace what is true, we forget to embrace the tensions that connect what is true to what is real. This is where the church gets it wrong sometimes. It's like this rubber band. We all understand the principles behind a rubber band, right? When it has tension, and sometimes if it's small, like in the rubber band's big, we'll wrap it up more and more to create more tension. Why? So that it has power, so that it has influence, so that it has usefulness. We create tension. When we don't create tension, we actually diminish its power. And the same is true of truth, that when we diminish the truth when we don't connect it to what it is real. And a lot of times churches, religions, and leaders like myself are maybe afraid to balance on the tension in that space between what's true and what's real, because they think if I stand in the tension, if I go into that, if I walk right into that, what will happen is it will diminish the truth. And actually, no, it actually enhances and gives the truth power because you're connecting it to what people are experiencing. And kind of the big idea for the whole series, what I want us to understand as we go throughout these next 4 weeks, is that tension doesn't make truth less true. It makes it more real. Tension may be messy, may be difficult, may require practice, may require courage, but tension doesn't make truth less true. It makes it more real. So it's like this, like we want people to know God, right? We want to tell people you can know God, a personal God, but also God's a mystery, right? Like if we don't connect it to the idea that God is a mystery, it's sometimes when spiritual leaders act like they've cornered the market on understanding God and then they put him in this package and they deliver it to people, they go, yeah, but you're not answering all of my questions. God doesn't answer everything. Why? Because they've not said, yeah, you can know God and God's a mystery at the same time. So yeah, you can become a Christian in a moment. You can begin the path of transformation in a moment. It happens instantly, but it takes a lifetime to actually understand what that looks like and to live it out fully. And some of you in here, maybe for a lifetime, you've been following Jesus and you understand, yeah, I don't got it all the way yet, right? It takes a lifetime to understand what that is, but sometimes churches and spiritual leaders and pastors will put it on people that they should just understand, they should know automatically because they had this change in their life, but it takes a lifetime to live it out and understand what that means. So we want people to know the Bible is true, right? We want people to know the Bible is true, but we also understand that not all that is true about life is found in the Bible, right? There are other things out there. There are other people that are having messages that can connect to what the Bible is. And one of my favorite organizations that helps churches, one of the things that they do best is they reach out to these leaders in the community, to these leaders in the world of education, and leaders of all kinds, authors and people that are working in government, and they reach out to them to be better. Why? Because yeah, we believe the Bible is all true, and that when it comes to matters of spirituality and faith, it is the standard, but that not all that is true about life is found in the Bible. We need to understand that there's more to it. There's other places, and we believe those people are valuable because they're created in God's image. He said, sure, trust leads to a stronger faith. But so does doubt. Right? Because doubt produces these questions that when we get answers to them, or we begin to discover things, we begin to own our faith even more. So sure, trust God. But have you ever gotten that answer from somebody? Just trust God? Just trust God? Did it fix it? Did it help? No. Okay, you're struggling right now. Let's doubt in a direction that leads to a discovery. Let's doubt together. Why? Because doubt also leads to a stronger faith. We want people to know that the church can be enjoyed, but you know what? The world should be enjoyed too. There's a lot of great things in our world. And I don't mean the world like sometimes the Bible will use the term the world when it talks about a sinful system, right? Or a system that is maybe opposite to the spiritual world that God is creating in our life. But just the idea that God created this amazing world, and there's amazing music, and there's beauty all around us, and there's things to be enjoyed. And it's sad to me when Christians are known as a group of people who don't know how to have fun, because we should have the most fun. We should enjoy not just church, not just each other, but even people who don't go to church or maybe don't believe like us. Sometimes I enjoy those people even more. Sad to say, why? Because the world should be enjoyed. There's a lot of amazing things out there. We said the beliefs matter, but people matter more. Right? And this one gets a lot, right? Because sometimes people's beliefs cause them to hurt people. And if your beliefs cause you to hurt people, there's something wrong with your beliefs. Because beliefs matter, but people matter more. And balancing that tension between what you believe and the person next to you that you're to love can be very difficult and very messy, and we're committed as a church to do this. God has an ideal. I want people to know that. I want people to see God's standard and embrace that as truth, but also God uses broken people. I wouldn't be here if he didn't. Right? God uses broken people. The Bible is a story of God using broken person after broken person. A man that in one moment is described as a man after God's own heart, and in the next moment he's committing adultery, right? Right? God has an ideal, and God uses broken people. Sometimes you may feel like you're not good enough, you don't reach that standard, and so God can't accept you, can't use you, doesn't want you, and it's not true. God uses broken people time and time again. He doesn't really have anything else to work with. We say God is good. We want people to know that God is good, even in a world full of pain and hurt. We want people to know God is good. But you should also do good. Right? Like sometimes in the church, sometimes with Christians, they come and just put it all on God. God's good, God's good. People just need to believe God, and they'll be fine. No. You should do good. Jesus said, actually, like when you do good, people will actually see that God is good because you are doing good. And sometimes the church gets it wrong. Sometimes Christian leaders get it wrong. Sometimes we struggle taking truth and reality and walking in this tension in between because it's difficult. But if we don't embrace tension, we set people up to reject what is true because of what they will experience. You may be in here right now and you're like, yes, that describes me. That's where I'm at. That's why I don't like church. That's why I can't believe I'm here today. I'm glad it's so small. I don't know. Maybe you have all kinds of ideas, right? I'm glad no one's seeing me here. We don't want to set people up to reject what is true because of what they will experience. They can work together to actually create power in our message and follow Jesus into new life. Let me talk to the Christians in here, though, for a moment. Just for a second. Those who are like, yes, I follow Jesus. If you're not a Christian, you're off the hook on this one, okay? It might still apply. So listen, but you're off the hook on this one. If we don't embrace the tensions, right, as Christians, we end up becoming that Christian. You know what I mean? Like the reason why other people don't want to become Christians. Yeah? Maybe you've met that Christian. Maybe that Christian is why you stopped going to church or why you stopped talking to people who consider themselves Christians. Right? They became that Christian. They became irresponsible with their message. Right? Because they would talk about how good God is and they wouldn't do anything to help people, though. It's confusing to you. Maybe they were stuck. Right? They thought they knew what they knew and they weren't going to bend either way. They were dug in. They were never going to change their mind. Don't be that Christian. Don't be stuck. Don't be a jerk. Right? You ever met Christians that are just jerks? It's why sometimes I show up and people are like, oh, what do you, I try to explain it some other way without using the word Christian, right? Because some of them are jerks, some of them are weird, right? Don't be that Christian. Don't be the weird Christian that can't enjoy life, right, and have fun. Some Christians are threatened all the time by everything around them. The sky is falling mentality. Don't be that Christian. Don't be an idiot. Don't be shallow. Right? And worst of all, don't be arrogant. The idea that I know God and nobody else does. Everybody else is over here and I'm over here. Right? It causes arrogance. When in reality, we should be right here in the tension, understanding we can know God and God is a mystery. Right? Because tension doesn't make truth less true. It makes it more real. And so throughout this series, our goal is to take some tensions that Jesus came face to face with and some things that he lived out and that he taught. And we want to connect that to our world today because it's actually not that far off. And we're going to talk about some other tensions over the next 3 weeks that we can embrace. And then we can get right in the middle of it. We're going to talk about how do we do that? What does that look like to embrace the tension? Maybe as a Christian, maybe as someone who's not yet following Jesus. And as a church, I want to say Downtown Faith is committed to embracing tension so that we can connect to our downtown community what is true and what is real. Both at the same